Let's talk about the big beautiful bill. If you know me, you know I'm very much opposed to this bill, but I want to explain why. So if you're MAGA or support the bill, let's talk about it. There are three major issues that I want to talk about. First is a $900 billion cut to Medicaid, with some estimates showing the number to be closer to $1 trillion. Second is the temporary no tax on tips and overtime policy. And lastly is a permanent extension of the 2017 tax cuts. Let's start with Medicaid, and before you finish typing about how your cousin has an uncle who's just a welfare whatever, just know this will kick about 11 million Americans off Medicaid, but it also defunds hospitals and schools, hurting entire communities, not just individual people who may or may not be lazy. Personally, I don't see how maybe getting a few bad apples out of the system is worth the harm that comes along with it. It seems unnecessarily cruel, but maybe I'm missing something, and if you support this, let me know why. As for the no tax on tips and overtime thing, it expires in 2028, right before the next election. This is bad policy because it's bait. It's like dangling a carrot in front of you. It's the same thing as the bipartisan border bill getting killed so that Trump could run on immigration. This is bad public service. Elected officials should not be doing half-assed legislation in order to be reelected. Instead, they should be reelected based on their merit and accomplishments, not promises made based on us being good civilians and giving them power again. Republicans have the ability to strong-arm any legislation that they want, so why not make it permanent now? They basically have power at every level of government. So why doesn't the party of the working class not push for better wages so that tips don't determine whether or not a hardworking American can eat, pay their rent, or feed their family? Lastly, the permanent tax cuts sound great on paper, and I'm happy for lower tax rates for lower and middle class families and households. But overall, these cuts reduce federal revenue by $4.5 trillion over the next decade. How will the government recoup their losses? Through tariffs. Literally by charging us more for imports and services. A policy that amounts to giving us a nickel so that we can pay them a dime. And let's talk about tax brackets real quick. I make less than $50K a year, so my tax rate is 12%. But someone making $200,000 gets taxed at 32%, meaning they walk away with about $140,000 after taxes. Meanwhile, I'm bringing home roughly $25,000 after taxes, doing skilled work in healthcare. This bill doesn't help me. It doesn't help the working people that literally fund and build our country. It helps the rich get richer, and it gives more power, because this bill ultimately is for them. The reason I'm so opposed to this bill and the whole own the libs approach is because they're not owning libs. They're making bad policy that harms the very core of their voter base, the working class, while lying about their goals. Like, remember whenever they said they wouldn't touch Medicaid?
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy.
And then lying to you, justifying touching Medicaid by saying that we need to cut it to get that one person who you think is just being lazy. It's manipulation. There's no other word for it. I'm a blue dot in Oklahoma, and I feel for my neighbors who just blindly eat this shit up without thinking. But again, maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll be making a follow-up discussing how this bill will affect Oklahoma directly. Follow if you learned something new, or if you're just interested in the conversation.